Is it recording on your end?
Yeah, so got it.
Are you recording? Yep.
I'm recording.
No, I'm recording. Don't worry about you recording. um, Welcome to the Freedom Network. Today we're talking about the powers of the human mind. My name's Troy Colmer, and my mission is for you to get in the best shape of your life. We want to finish 2023 off in the, just guns blazing, both in mind and body, all that stuff. And I've got my good mate here again, Geoff Coate. He's a man of wisdoms and many words. He speaks a lot more. He speaks a lot clearer than I do. So maybe because he's up there in Queensland, maybe the air's better.
Yeah, the air's clear here.
How are you going, Geoff?
Mate, I'm going really well, thank you. Happy to be back to have another discussion of all things.
Well, you've kicked Craig out the spot for the next 3 weeks, because he's gone to Bali for 3 weeks.
Righto. Well, I was going to actually say, tell him to sit up in his chair. He looks like he's sliding down.
He won't be happy with it. He's not going to be happy with that.
But I'm just trying to look after his back. He's some boys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we are trying, but we go off topic and we mumble, and well, that's mainly me. But yeah, Craig's actually really good. He's really he listens good, and then he speaks well. Yeah. I'm the one that's holding things back a bit, so I've got to pick my game up, apparently.
No, I think, mate, watching the podcast, they're very insightful. And I think, if they deter off into certain areas, it's because you're exploring different avenues, and it really helps explain things.
Yeah, that's the thing with the mind. The mind does just like a thought comes in, and then you get to make a decision whether you attach onto it or not on every thought, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they're endless. There's, if you look at, someone said there's 70, 80,000 thoughts a day. I don't know how they counted them, but
imagine that.
I couldn't stay focused that long.
70,364. 70.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying from I think the American government did a test on Andrew Carnegie.
What's that?
There's a test that the government did on Andrew Carnegie and said, "How are you so successful?"
Carnegie,
yeah. He said that it was because he could focus on something for around 5 minutes, where most people lose track or lose their train of thought very quickly. So the power of that mind, as you just said, if you can stay on task and stay focused for any amount of time, you might be able to count 80,000 thoughts.
Yeah. Well, because we're talking about the mind today and the powers of the human mind. And I've been in my Tibetan 5 rights. And if you want to join the Tibetan 5 rights, you can, it's totally free over at the freedomnetwork.io and on the Become Limitless new site that we've got going. Actually, should be up early next week. So it'll be, it's totally free. So you can come and join the love. So anyway, I've been doing the Tibetan 5 rights, and part of that I've got the meditations, like the 2 meditations before the 5 rights, and then the 2 after it. And I have been trying to do that, trying to focus the thought, because what happens when so the first one that we do is the alternate nostril breathing, and that's only for 10 cycles. So you would think that I could concentrate my mind, so what you're meant to do is feel the air coming through your nose down into one side of your lung, and then you push it over to the other side of the lung, and then you push it out through the other nostril, and then back in, do the opposite, and then back out. That's one cycle.
Yep.
So you think that, that's pretty easy. You could follow that, mate. I get like 2 or 3 in max, and then I'm doing the alternate nostril breathing, but then my mind just starts to go. And then I go, hang on, Troy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about Andrew, 5 minutes to concentrate on something that's something on the one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole idea. Pardon?
I can't even stay focused on the counting of the time of the thinking of one subject to get that in way.
And but that's the whole purpose, I believe. The whole purpose of meditation is just to monitor your thought and to get focused thought.
Yeah.
Because the thoughts, so people think that the thoughts are yours, but most of them aren't yours. They're just like, in a car when you put the radio on and your antenna, or I mean the radio connects up to through the air through to the radio station, and it's just picking that up and it comes through your radio station. Then you can change channels and you get different radio stations. So does that mean the radio is not part of the frequency coming in, is it?
No, so it's not the frequency coming in is the frequency coming in.
Yeah. So if you say like we're the vehicle, so we're the same. Like we've got our pineal gland, like our connector that connects onto the all-seeing eye that connects onto the frequencies of around us. So if you use the same logic, well, most of it's not ours. Most of it's just up in the ether that we're picking up. And we're talking in our language, obviously, because it has to be converted. Like all thought in your mind has to be converted to your own language.
Is the pineal gland the radio? The receiver?
Well, we're the radio. I think the pineal gland is the antenna. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it's only just what my thoughts could be on it.
Yeah, I've got two sort of avenues. I'm starting a book called The Fork in the Road. It always seems to have two separate things, two avenues to go. So in my meditation, and I still do that. I did that this morning. So funny you bring that up, the alternate nostril breathing.
Yeah.
Sadhguru taught me one method, and you taught it to me first.
Yeah, well, that's not mine. Sorry, Geoff. I don't mean to cut you off, but I didn't come up. My yoga teacher, Damien Malloy, man, before COVID, he is the best yoga teacher I've ever had, like ever. He was that good, and he showed me that technique. And all I've done is just showing other people what he showed me. So I'm just a facilitator of knowledge. Yeah, so I don't want to. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not claiming that. But that alternate nostril breathing is fantastic. Sorry to cut you off there, mate, but I just didn't want to take any credit for that because that's not me. That's Damien's.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And he got it from someone else. Sadhguru got it from someone else. So we're all just messengers of what we learn is a good technique. Same with the Tibetan rites. But in a way that I meditate and that I'm starting to execute to get better results in my daily practices. One way, and exactly this morning when I was doing my alternate nostril breathing, I was losing sight, and Ram Dass used to teach me, if a thought comes in, and initially I'd go, "Oh, what are you doing? What am I thinking that for?" And then I'm already thinking, "What am I thinking that for?" when I'm off track. So Ram Dass taught me that just let it flow. It's just old messages. It's just whatever. Let it go, and you'll drift back to your peaceful state. Whereas in some of them now, with that alternate nostril breathing, I've actually incorporated a lot of visualizations of exactly the right lung to the right brain, how it's creating a whole brain state between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. So I actually do a visualization to help me stay focused on something for more than 5 seconds. And I just keep the visualization going.
And that is exactly what you meant to do.
I know. It takes a while to get around because...
And with the visualization, you do that with the feeling of the air going down into there too.
Well, sometimes I'm the actual air going through the brain of this vehicle, awakening and doing all the neuroplasticity to the brains in creating a whole brain state.
Oh, you visualize you're going through the air.
Sometimes, yeah. I am the air.
Right. I've never done that. No.
I like to mix it up.
Yeah. Good. Go, Geoff.
The other way is when I manifest, because I had troubles at the start of blocking out the thoughts. I just went into the atmosphere of the universe, like looking up at night when there's no stars and it's just pure black. And I've managed to develop that skill that when I do meditations, sometimes I don't know, it's 1 minute, sometimes it's 5 minutes. it's just total black, and I have no thought at all for long periods of time. And when I say long, 1, 2, 5, sometimes 10 minutes, where I get to the end of a 20-minute session with Sadhguru, and it's gone like that because I've just been in complete no thought.
Yeah, well, that's what's his name?
Geoff Coat.
No, not Jeff. No. Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me in a minute. But he says that no thing, no thought. But that's the whole idea of it. That's what it's meant to be. And apparently, if you keep doing that long enough, you get to see some silver cord or something, and then you get to go to other realms and things like that. Apparently, but
Oh, I'm on my way there.
yeah,
So, and that's taken a bit of time, and that's taken a bit of desire and a bit of focus and a bit of faith that this is how it is. Like
yeah,
I resigned myself to get out of being the 35-year electrician to I'm a spiritual being in a physical form.
yeah.
And that's helped me get to that point. But
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like age is weird. I remember my grandfather. He died at 86, but he said that like he was right nearly before he died. He said that in my mind I feel like I'm 21.
yeah,
He said, but my body's clapped out. So his mind was sharp as like it didn't change his whole life.
yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's whatever you believe. Like, and we're programmed to believe that you get older and sore and stiffer, and you get less movement when you get older. But um, I, like anything, I'm 50, and now I've done my morning routine consistently for 15 days, which before that was very sporadic. You know, sometimes I had a week off, sometimes I was 3 days a week, but just doing it for 15 days and my yoga methods, I'm walking up Mount Coolum, not puffed because of the breath work, and no achy joints, and I'm a vegetarian, and there's no, and I'm getting fitter and healthier in 15 days from doing simple practices that you've encouraged me, and I'm doing 75 hard.
I can take a little bit of credit off the 15 days because I thought because we got to from Christmas till the first 6 months, and mate, it just went gone. It's just like gone. I went, God. Even for me, I'm thinking, what did I actually do in that last 6 months? Like, what did I put enough effort in? Did I? And I started questioning everything, and I went, no, probably not. So I thought, well, no, I'm going to put a massive effort in for the next 6 months, and then I went, well, what about if we can get everybody else to join in on the next 6 months? And let's get in. Like, just imagine if everyone was on this same wavelength, like the getting fitter and stronger and healthier and critical thinking. And man, the life could just be so great, so great. Like everyone, there'd be none of this fighting and yelling abuse because it's very hard. It's very hard to like think ill of somebody else when you're at this state, like when you're at one with yourself, like it's very because you just accept other people as they are and not as you're trying to portray your thoughts of how they should be. Like you just start to accept to go, well, that's them, and for whatever reason, they're them. That they're not. That's the wrong wording. For whatever reason, that they have their program for them to react in with whatever they're doing. It's sort of like, it's just like a really weird. It's I feel like I'm at a strange spot in my mind. I don't know, and especially back because I was a bit sporadic too on the Tibetan Five Rites, but like since I've been fully back into them again, I forgot how good they are. Like I just forgot about it's just you can't even explain the feeling of it feels like a togetherness or something. Like it feels whole or something within your body, like within your sort of the chest area or solar plex area or something. I don't know. Do you get the same thing?
Yeah, I become very peaceful in it. When at the end of it, when you're laying flat and your forehead and your nose down, I feel the heartbeat has risen. I feel a warm sensation through my skin. Sometimes it's a little bit dizzy if I've gone into them a bit too hard, but I feel a real connection of probably leaving my body connection back to my soul or my eternal self, and the physical ailments or the physical parts go away. So that goes away, and I just become whole again.
Yeah, you can't explain it, can you? Like, it's just the feeling. You try to use words so that you can, but yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. I can't get any words that. How do you get words to explain a feeling?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well,
it's very difficult.
look at Esther Hicks. She receives those, and she has to translate into the most closely related words,
Yeah,
which might not always suit. And sometimes, you do it as well. When I'm halfway through a sentence, you say a word and you go, hang on, no, that one doesn't match. And you try and find one closer, but you just have to nudge it towards the best description you can.
and oh yeah, that's great that you brought Esther up, because that's exactly what I was talking about at the start, about your antenna picking up the not
Well,
not your thoughts.
this is what we're doing here. So,
Yeah, and because like that's exactly what she's doing.
yeah.
She's just doing that and picking up someone else's thoughts, and then obviously she's connected to another dimension or something somewhere. Because I think, did you say there's like 8 of them or something? I think, is there?
collective, a collective group called Abraham,
Yeah,
and they are there's no I've never read of a number, but it's a collective group of people, a bit like Ra, I would imagine.
but he's
That,
not. Or it's hard to say he. I'm saying he because I'm a man, but it could be what could be. I don't think it's
it's more an entity.
an entity. Yeah,
An entity of a collective group, whereas Esther has explained it to me as it's a collective group of wisdom that's coming through her, and they send it through to her in vibration, which is the antenna, and she has to, and being a channel, she has to convert that into something that our ears understand. So she can only relate it the best way that she can with human words.
yeah. But that's exactly I. That is exactly what I was talking about. When you're in thought by yourself, and then all those thoughts are coming in. This is why I'm saying you have to guard your mind like a fortress. Like, you have to guard it and then see and monitor them, and to see, hang on, because you get on a thought form, and then and you think, why am I thinking that? You know what I mean? Why? And
So
do you find that, like, if you're having a bad day, which everyone has them, that's just normal, and you can have 1 or 2 or 3 in a row, which is not great. But then your thought form changes, and then you start thinking bad thoughts. And do you think that there's some sort of negative energy out there that's transmitting or something like that, so that we're picking up on that?
yeah, 100%. And if you were to use ancient wisdom of everything was light and everything was vibration and sound, the radio, and I love the analogies that you use. The radio is a perfect example. If you do it manually and go this way and that way with the dial, you're going to come across all different frequencies, and you've got to tune into the one you want. So if you were to manually choose the frequency you want, and that is abundance of love and care and faith and those things, but sometimes you're moving around and the reception for that might pick up another channel.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yep,
focus on that channel. So,
yeah,
we'll use yours. We're driving here to Sydney,
yeah,
and we go around the long way, and
yeah,
we come 2GB onto 2KY, and they're talking some left stuff that's the way out of it. And you start listening to that, that's going to take your concentration to probably thinking about that. So your definite purpose of staying on the task of getting from here to there and going that route, but sometimes there's going to be other interference that clouds your mind, and that's the hypnotic rhythm from society.
yeah. And have you read The Law of One?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I bought it, but I bought the whole kit, but I've preserved it to never do it. So I've listened to it because
I actually haven't read it. I don't actually have the books, and I've seen those books of yours. They're fantastic. But I have I've listened to it on audio.
I bought a boxed set.
Yeah, wow.
And sealed, and I thought the power's in there, and I'll get to it one day. But there's a really, really good guy. I'll send you his link, and he actually reads the book to you, and he explains it. That makes it so relative, and sometimes, sometimes me reading a book, staying focused and comprehending. Sometimes I'm an audio learner. Sometimes I'm a visual learner, and an action. So certain books for me or certain types of wisdom come in at different levels, and the Law of One's very interesting.
Yeah. So if we stay on that topic for a second on the law of one, because I think that's in the 60s. That was right. Wasn't it 65 or something like that? Oh, 70. No, I think they did it for a few years. And she channels Ra, like the Ra, the sun god.
Yep.
And but he talks about, I'm just saying he, but the entity. I'm saying he. So Ra talks about the Orion group,
Yep.
and then and how they're the negative energy or entity, and how that affects her body. You know how she had ailments, and she said, "Oh, is that the?" He said, "Yeah, you're being attacked by the Orion group."
Yeah, I haven't read that or heard that bit. No.
Yeah, I'm sure that's in um, part of that law of one, and that's what. Yeah, I don't know. There's just
Been
so many things.
thousands
There's
of
so,
years.
pardon.
They've been here over thousands of years, and they send somebody to Earth to pass on the messages throughout certain times, through Egyptian times, even till today.
Yeah, but
And
you,
maybe like Esther, they've
but
met.
like because you know how that they put us into fear mode. Like like if you listen to mainstream TV and mainstream radio and all those things, like it's just so fear based. It's always killings and things and how bad everything is, and so then that brings it down. And maybe like it's hard to know. Like
It's easy
it,
to get people to do things when you're scared.
yeah,
Like,
but is it like an outside entity or something? Are they? Because I've heard too that because they use our power, because we're like a battery, and then they use that negative energy for themselves. So
yeah.
I mean, this is way, way outside of the realm of thinking, but I
Well,
mean,
it's
but
not.
who knows? We just don't know. We don't know all that stuff.
Yep. But all, and when we, for me, when I narrow it down to how um, the level of how I want to perceive what it is, you've got to narrow it down to a way that is acceptable for you, and that you understand that it feels that way, and you can have a good life in this physical form as a spiritual being.
Yeah, and that's what because we've talked about it a lot over the years, and like how you went down the road of looking up all these things, but I come to the realization pretty quick that like, we're not here long in this physical body, and
Yeah.
so for me, it's sort of like I was like, well, how do I max out that short time span that we got inside the physical, like, and what are we supposed to be here doing? Like, if we're meant to be walking and feeling and experiencing the nature and birds and and all the ups and downs have been with marriage and having children or not having children, whatever it is for you. For me, it's obviously I haven't been married and children, and the ups and downs of business and life, and like we're meant to experience all these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and because as a spirit, if you're just spirit, you can't. You, you need a vehicle like this to experience anything.
Yeah, well, on different planes, you may be just vibration where you can't experience them in the physical form. So that's why we have this appearance and this opportunity to run that gauntlet,
Yeah,
run that experience. That we're meant to feel those things in a different form for some purpose, and this is the experience that we've got now to do that.
but we spend so much time, Geoff, to work out what's on the other side. Instead of working out, hang on a minute, we've got this physical body, and what about we work out what's on this side? You
Well,
know?
that's true, but you think about it in your physical form, when you've been taught something, and then you forget it, and you're dealing with your mates like you and I, and we're trying to think of a certain book or something that happened, and trying to pick up a file in our head. just look at that as a spiritual form that we've been landed here in this physical body. We've had our memory erased, and there's always something that we're trying to remember.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
right.
that is as simple as it. And that way I don't have to go, man, what is it? What's the go? And that's the part of the fun game is
Yeah.
there's a mystery out there. This is a nice saying. There's a mystery out there leading us somewhere. We just have to trust it. Go for it. And we're in
Yeah. And I know that too, but geez, you've got to be careful too, because if you connect onto the wrong connection, you can be guided into a wrong connection, wrong spot, like um a wrong road, you know?
yeah,
And following that mystery thing. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is like there's so many things, isn't there? Because when you start to realize the power of the mind, and then you realize that all these thoughts and the connections and like every single thing you do is just a choice.
yep.
You know, you either choose it or you're not. Say you're laying in bed in the morning, like it's the first thing that, well, I know for me, say it's cold now because it's winter, and you know you're toasty and the alarm goes off at 4:30, and the very first thought is, Um, oh, just, you could just stay here and don't worry. Do you really need to get up for today? You did it yesterday. Like this is what comes into my mind straight away. And then I have to say to that entity, say, no, mate, that's not the cricket. We've got to
Yeah,
get up and get at it, and you
yeah.
live by example. And that's why the other reason too, Geoff, is that I've been doing, this thing. I'm going to do it every single day till Christmas about telling people to get up and get at it. And that's partly for myself as well, because if if you have to lead by example forces you to be better, like forces you.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be a leader and lead by something and to stand for something, like you can't that other thing's not an option, you know?
No.
Like the staying in bed's not an option. Because then you're thinking in your head, oh, everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, another fraud.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it's more self-empowering to you to do it. The vacuum of everybody else doing it is a bonus. That's the way I look at it. Whenever I do something, I do it because I'm doing it for the passion of me doing it. And then all of a sudden you've got 20 people, and I'm talking within life-saving realm. If it's pretty dicey out in the surf, and I say, well, we're lifesavers. Let's go. Let's take a rescue tube. Let's go out for a swim. And they're going, no, no, no. And I go, no, no, no. Well, nobody's going to build on themselves and expand. So you take on that challenge, and I've got this other alter ego from David Goggins.
Oh,
I've,
Goggins.
I've
What a mission that guy is.
He's a mission, and he inspired me to do some stuff down at Life Saving. So I've got this other alter ego called Floggins. Yeah, it's real. And what that done was I started making a few, and I'll send you one of them. I made a few videos.
Oh,
Of,
sorry, you did send me one. It was very funny.
yeah, so I did that, and that sent a buzz around my surf club, and they're like, well, and I'm not the fittest and the fastest. Simon, the guy that was videoing, he's the guy who was doing it. But I thought, how do I encourage people to get down and get into it, and don't sit on the lounge and watch TV, because we used to do it at 6 o'clock at night. And one week there was 2 or 3 of us, then there's 10. They seen the video and they're all poking, having fun, but they're down there getting into it. They saw the sins dropped away, but why? Because Floggins dropped away.
Yeah, right. They're the leader. The leader left the pack.
Well, and that's it. So
Mm.
for me, and listening to you saying I'm getting up every day, well, one, I don't have a choice now, because if you are, I am. You know what I mean? So, and that's what it does. And then before
Yeah.
you know it, you build a habit.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way. I feel that the only way that we can save the planet is by everybody doing this exact same thing. It's the
Yeah.
only way. By everybody realizing that the power that we have, because I just feel that it's just the planet's sick, mate. That like if you look at what's going on, like it's just disgraceful. A lot of the behavior that people are doing, and and then men wearing dresses,
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
and now they're trying to make pedophilia. That's what do they call it? Is minor attracted people or something? And I'm thinking, what the hell happened to society? I remember, like, it's only 10 years ago, like when Sarah was, say, 16 at high school, I can tell you now, without a doubt in my mind, and every single man, father that I know would thought like I did, if they had, she's in the change room getting changed, right? Like to nude, or maybe not nude, but maybe whatever they got on, but not much. And then the school was allowing teenage boys in there
Yeah.
to go and watch them. Oh, mate, I can tell you now that
Old school teachers would have
the
booted them out.
fathers only 10 years ago, that I can tell you, it would have been fisticuffs
Yeah.
because it just it wasn't tolerated, man. It just was not tolerated. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened to society where all of a sudden everyone just says it's okay. This boy says that he's able to be, he thinks he's a girl and he can just go and watch girls get changed. But you got to put your mind into a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Mate, they'll say anything and do anything to go and watch girls get unchanged. It's not like, but they're on a different wavelength of a 15-year-old boy. Like, I just think, wow, society's just gone so downhill. But and we talked a little bit before about Tate, and like his message is so strong for young men, and although he has the reason that he does all the other stuff too is also because to get himself out there and things, but the actual message is correct, that to bring strength back into men, like get men's strength, and that's got to do with why all the breakups, because women need strength. They need a strong man behind them. They don't want some pussy sitting on the lounge and whimpering and whining and carrying on. They want to see some strong guy, that if something happens and they need backup, mate, they need that. They want that guy to jump to attention and whatever it takes.
But
I don't know.
I also think that Tate is because my daughter, MJ's 16. She goes to school and they did a class on Tate.
Oh, really?
The teacher.
No way. That's how influential he's got.
Oh, it's huge. But she come home and she said, I've heard you talking about him and you listen to him and you believe in this stuff. So what do you think, Dad? Because now that I've been coerced by the teacher about this and this, and I said, well, I think he's doing good for both sides. For men, he's empowering men to take a stand, and we're providers and protectors, and men have built the world with their bare hands, and the women, and I think he's valuing women because in a lot of them he says, what is a good woman? A good woman is someone who hasn't slept with 25 different blokes and haven't sold themselves out. They value the man because if you look at it as a chess game, and I think we've discussed this, there's a king and the queen and all the others around. Now, the king can only do so much, but he holds the power. But yet the woman, the queen, holds just as much power because they can do all this stuff to protect the king, to rule, to make sure there's stability and there's a family structure there. So I think by saying that men do this and women do that, some people might say, well, no, that's not correct. We should be able to all do everything, but it doesn't seem like societies today, it's panning out too well for that. So, behind every great man is an even greater woman because, you couldn't do nothing without Kerry. She would not allow it, my friend. You know what I mean? It takes the bonding of both.
Everybody knows who rules the roost, and that's definitely not me.
She's the queen. She darts all around them.
Yeah, but saying that, but she knows that, that she can do whatever she wants, but she knows there's a protector,
Exactly.
I'll do anything to protect my family, like anything.
Yep.
And I've had to do it a couple of times, so it's just like, the strength has gone out of family unit. But Geoff, how you're just talking about that with the feminist, I'm going to say the feminist movement. I know it might upset a few people, but it is ruining society because you can't have everybody doing the same thing, or exactly what you just said. We can't have everybody just doing the same thing because then no one's got any roles and responsibilities. And then so what happens with the children? Like if the ladies, I know it's the lady's job. That's not the right wording, but
when you say it like that, it implies that's their duty. They have to do that. So it's probably I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's not. But we can't do that because we don't have the nurture. Like we're not born with that. Like a man is only got, like you said on the chessboard, we only have two things, and that's provide and protect. That's sort of our game plan.
Yeah,
Where the ladies have got, they've got to nurture and they've got to do all the emotions and all the things. That's why they've got all that to be able to do that with the kids. And then our thing is to show the kids' strength.
yeah,
And
discipline.
then and also that, and I know Sarah and my daughter and my sons and that, like that, they're not looking up at their dad and saying, "Oh, what a pussy," you know
Yeah,
what I mean? But Sarah would know, like if Sarah needs something, like she knows that she can come to a father, like being a strong father is that's there's nothing more, nothing bigger than that, I don't think. And then and sometimes what happens is with the on like fences, I talk about Kerry, I suppose, but you know, we
be careful.
yeah, I know. And she'll be listening to this. I'll have to be careful with my words. But it's very easy. You know how we're talking about the thought thing, right? And we start to get on a path because every thought has a emotion to it, and like the ladies are very emotional with their thoughts. Like you can go down a track so fast, and then that one thing leads to another, and then you've got to say, hang on a minute, what about we just have a think about it?
Yeah.
That's our job. We're meant to say to them, say, hang on a minute,
Oh,
let's just have a think about it. And I said, what about, we go this, and this, and then after all the steam goes off, and then it comes back and yeah, okay, that's how it's meant to be. And I think that's what our job is. But and what I feel in today's society, there's no roles and responsibilities anymore for the man or the lady. Like everyone expects all the things, but then who's looking after the kids? Like everyone's tired. So before the mum would work, and I think that they should be able to work a couple of days a week because interaction and
yeah,
gives them a break from the children because it's bloody hard work
yeah,
and keeps them out a bit of an out there. But who's raising the children? The state. Like look now where both the setup that's happened now is the man and the wife both have to work just to survive, just to put food on the table, pay the mortgage or pay the rent. And the kid it's nearly from when they're born is in care. So
yeah,
their whole 0 to 7 is when they're meant to get their programming. Like, well, that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to our fathers and mothers supposed to pass down the programming to us, the strong programming, and then that programming is it's meant to keep going down like that. But not down. It's meant to go like stronger and stronger. We're meant to build on strength.
yeah.
And so now you're sending your child off for their first 7 years into a daycare center. Mate, you have no idea what programming they're giving their kids. Like you don't have the stability of the people there. You've got no idea of what mind things that they've got problems with, or I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying that they have or they haven't, but I'm just saying you have no idea.
Well, if you look at in the olden times, and you go back to say Eastern cultures where there were villages, um, everyone sort of had a hand in raising them to have certain values. But to me, there's too much extent, and the villages had the best interest of the child. Whereas today, yes, the schools say they do, but they've all got their lives as well, and they're just doing the job. So, are they going to instill the morals and the virtues that are so very important at that young age that the parent probably should be doing? Are they going to instill those important values then to carry them through right their life?
Yeah, of course not. But this is the whole thing that like the FEB, that this is like they go on such a long plan, and they know that it only takes 20 years to change a whole thought form for a whole society. Because all they've got to do is change the kids at when they're the first 7 years and then through high school, and then those kids are going to be the next teachers.
Yeah.
So then that means that whole society gets changed to that thinking. Like that's all it takes, 20 years. because I can go back 100% from when our kids first started going to school, and that's when the first lot of political correctness started coming in, and you weren't allowed to say anything. Because when I went to school not long before that, I was only in school 5 years before that or maybe 10, 95, 8 years. Mate, we were still getting the cane at school. We're still getting the cane. Yeah. Ooh, that used to hurt. But there was authority. But then the worst part is you go home and there'd be more authority, you know? So there was double authority. So what they did in the 90s, they took all that away. They took all the authority out. And the kids would come home and say, you can't tell us what to do. We're told we've got rights, and we can go and report you.
Yeah.
You know, so that got instilled into them from the school system. And now look what's happened. And now we've got men in dresses and kids, boys in girls' dressing rooms. That's the outcome after 20 years.
Yeah. You know? I watched the news a little bit the other night and watched all these 14 and 15-year-old kids in Brisbane robbing cars and breaking into houses and assaulting people while they're asleep. And you just think, you know, there was crime back then, but it's not. It's out of control, and it can only be from the lack of discipline and the lack of authority. And I've done a bit of research on a few things, and unfortunately, and it might sound bad, but these aren't my statistics. That, you know, I think 80% of the young men that are in prison are from single mother homes, and 60% of kids with behavioural disorders are from single mother homes. And, you know, this goes back to the role of the mother and the father. The mother has the loving, caring, nurture, and the father has the discipline and the teaching of virtues and values. And I'm not saying that women can't do that, but if the statistics are saying that separated families and single mother homes are a part of the reflection of whom is in jails or why society is, and it's not blaming the mothers, and it's probably blaming the lack of the cohesion between families.
Yeah, and that's what before we got right down to this thought form. That's where it all started. Remember, that's why it all comes. That's this whole road that we've just been on for the last 10 minutes has all come back to us getting out of bed and saying no and becoming strength.
Yeah.
That's where it's all come back to that. And then say that, you know, if a younger person, a man and a lady, both of them, get up and then start to realize the power of their mind, and all that can stop, you know, because once you become mentally aware of what's happening, and then also mentally strong, and then physically strong, everything changes. Everything.
Well, then your emotions become strong, and then you're not susceptible to external influences changing you.
Yeah. So something has to happen. This is why I've started the whole thing, is because, like, I want to have grandkids that love the world they live in. Look at it now, like you just said, in Brisbane, you know, where they're all the all the kids out of control. You know, we don't have that here as such at the minute, but who knows? It could only be months away. You wouldn't know.
But that's what the media like to portray, and that's mongering, and everybody's living on edge, and they're doing all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah, but the only way that we can get out of it is by building strength. It's the only way. There is no other way.
And that's, you know, empowering yourself to have a direction, and your direction is of kindness and love and strength and empowerment and doing things for others and yourself. That's got to spread, and everybody's got to go back to that way of living where everybody's safe, everybody can trust each other, everybody can function in society happily. You know, how about go do a job that you love and you're passionate about, instead of one that you have to do to make the mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And then you'll enjoy life a whole lot better through the course of your actions, and that all starts in the mind.
Yeah, that on that topic's just so hard, because the society that we've had now is because everything's got so expensive. So then nobody looks at that, well, how much you get off each job. not because of having to want to live a certain lifestyle. So they're looking at the monetary reward for that, doing that work, not the emotional attachment side to it. And so that's another massive issue.
Look at the process, not the fruit at the end.
Yeah, but it's very difficult when you got to put food on the table.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I believe, and I've done it, and I think you did it for Crago, and manifesting a different outcome with your employment and your jobs. Now, one of the processes that I learned from you was changing the way you're thinking, and I did that 2 years ago. I think I spoke to you about that. I actually put a manifestation in place that I was going to work hard for double the pay, but still give the same fantastic service. And I ended up not being dearer than any other electrician, but I earned double that year, and my hours went down by about 30%.
Yeah.
So you can change the way you do.
Yeah, no, 100% you can.
You can change it.
You can
have faith, set the intention, and then take the actions on board.
Yeah, you got to, there's no other way than you got to take the action. That's the thing. And then you've also, it's more than action, because you can work hard your whole life and still end up with nothing, or not with nothing, but you can still end up being down the wrong road because you can't manifest more than you are. So you have to have all the belief system for that reality to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, it's like the radio station. If we get back to that again, the radio. So imagine you got a radio in the car and it only has AM radio, and then the guy next to you's got FM. And so you're listening to talk back AM, and they're bopping away, and the thing, they go, mate, all you have to do is just turn this dial, and all you have to do is do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want, and it's not going to happen because they haven't got the FM on the radio.
Bob Proctor's a good one at that. You have to vibrate in the vibration that you want. And if you're vibrating in a multimillionaire, you've got to think, act, and vibrate like a millionaire. Or you can get up in the morning and slug it out and go to work and go, this is a tough job. Wow, am I going to get enough money? Here's my $1,000 for the week. Here's $800 there. If that's your vibration and that's your belief system, that's where you'll be. So you've got to change.
It's also, I know you have to be more than think, but yeah. I think the only way that you can do it is you have to do you've got to physically change it. You've got to physically check it through muscle testing.
Yep.
You've got to physically check to see if you have that app. You got to physically say, do I actually have that belief installed in my body?
Yeah.
And then if you don't, pardon?
I learned a new one the other day. It might look rude, but I learned this muscle testing one. Right. No, and a female taught it to me. Female, Rosie.
I'm not teaching anyone that, Geoff. I'm not teaching anyone that.
It's actually really effective. I like it, but it might not look the best.
Yeah, that actually doesn't. I actually tried that. I can't do that one, but I actually like that pendulum, because the pendulum you can. I have on the angle have maybe and wrong question.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get more than yes or no out of it, and then because sometimes you ask the question, and then it's going along and thinking, oh, yes or no, and then it goes, oh, maybe, or wrong question. Sometimes it goes wrong question, and I go, oh, wrong. So I'm asking the wrong question. So then I've got to go, oh, what? I've got to ask a different question.
Yeah.
It's a weird, strange setup.
The
old mind. Pardon?
The pendulum is really good.
Yeah. But this is we're coming right back to the start of the podcast at the start. So we've done the full circle, and we're getting back to the start, that the mind controls everything, everything. The mind controls the whole thing. And so if the mind's not right, the manifestation's not going to be right, the body's not going to be right, the family's not going to be right, the work's not going to be right, everything. It affects every single thing. And so that's why the mind, you have to work on the mind first. That's the first thing you have to do. And then second, you start with the body and all the manifesting and all that.
Yeah, well, 100%. The Kybalion book, that's all his mind, and that really gelled it to me, that it can only come back to one source, and that is all his mind, whether the mind is the universe and we're sub-minds from that. But you have to go back to the beginning, and that's the start.
Yeah. And that's why there's yo-yo dieting and all these other things, because your default mode, you have to know what your default is. Well, it's pretty easy to see what your default is, because wherever you're at,
Yeah,
that's your default. But you can override it. Like you can override it for years too.
yeah,
You can override it for years. If you manually override it, so it should be automatic. So what I did, I used to always press the snooze button. Always. Like
yeah.
for 50 years I pressed it. Not 50, but 40 odd, as long as the snooze has been around. And then I wouldn't just do one. I'd do two or three, And then, so when I got on this road and found out that you can change your belief system and things. So one of the things that I did was changing my thing about, as soon as the alarm goes off, I don't necessarily get up straight away, but I never press the snooze. Never. I haven't pressed the snooze button for years. And
And now it just makes his loud song for 15 minutes.
yeah, no, but I don't like to jump straight out, because I do like to just lay there for a minute and then process what my thoughts are going on, and I like to get into my body.
Yeah,
so I don't like to just jump straight out into the thing and then I'm in the rat race, So I like to get into my body a bit first and then think about, first I have a look and see what thoughts I'm thinking. But a lot of times is, you don't want to get up.
Yeah.
What about, come on, Troy, you could just stay in here a bit longer. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, I don't like that, Troy. That Troy's no good.
Yeah. So then I've got to fight him off. And, the old 1, 2, and then, because you've always got, you've always got the two voices, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And so you've always got to push past. But it's just weird that, like, I don't even think about pressing snooze button. Like, it doesn't even come into my mind anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that was one of the things I did. I did it, and then all of a sudden, it's gone.
I set an intention, and quite a while ago now, and I've added to it now. There's no time or space for me. That's why, and that was just an excuse that if I was late, well, I don't go by time, so that's fine. But I don't set the alarm. I've never set the alarm for the last 2 or 3 years. I wake up.
Yeah.
I get up at 4:57 or wake up at 4:50s every single day without fail.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to have to get up and turn the snooze off, so I thought I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, and that's the best way to be. But we've got chihuahuas, and the little mongrels. We put him in the laundry, and then, mate, I tell you what, at 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, or something, and they want to get out. Oh God, how long? And then you got to get up. You got to take them out to go to the toilet or thing, and then you end up just chucking them into bed because you think, God, I can't deal with them, and so you lose that sleep.
Yeah.
And then you just get up and you think, oh, if I only get. But if they sleep right through, then I feel I can do the same. But then it puts my rhythm off, with the little mongrels. But I wouldn't give them up. They're like the kids.
I wake up at 3 o'clock every day as well. I don't know what it is. It's only for a short time. I wake up at around early 3s.
Yeah.
I think about something, and if I start listening to a podcast or whatever, then I'm in trouble, because I'll do something till 4 and then I'll wake back up at 5. But every day is 3 o'clock for some reason. There's a spirit to it, but of some sort. But for me, there's something that just triggers me to wake up at 3 and 5.
Yeah.
We just got to get rid of the 3.
Get rid of the 3s. Oh, and seeing numbers all the time. That's really happened a lot lately. The 5s and the 303 and, the 11s. And it's just like, I think that it's telling you on the right road, like this path that I'm on now. I think I'm on the right path now,
Yep.
And just stay with it, because I know a lot of times that it is this road is not easy. By far, it's not easy at all. The easy path for me would have been just being an electrician and staying in the electrical business, even though I didn't like it. That would have been the easier path to stay on, and probably more financially better off as well for the short term.
But it's not. Doesn't.
Yeah. So this road is definitely put a lot of pressure on me and the family and all that. But I know in my heart that I'm doing something right for society and the world. And
well, I'm glad you're doing it, because it's benefited me already. It's years ago benefited me. So don't doubt it. It's got to have 100 in your manifesting. You've got to have 100% faith and send and just send it.
Yeah. But it is important that people know that it's not an easy road. Like it's not, but it's not meant to be easy, I don't think.
Well,
It's meant to be up and down, but it's exciting. That's what I tell people. The road's not that easy, but it gets exciting because once you understand how you can manifest in your life, and then you get the rubbish that you've manifested in, and you want to get rid of it, and then you want to bring in new stuff. But when you see something that you're fully, you've manifested it or we're changing that manifest to creating it into your life. But when you see it in real life, you go, oh man, this is real, like, it's just like, yeah, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, that's very, very exciting. And you become deeper involved in the game. And, like any game, the more you play it, the better you get at it and the more rewarding it becomes. And then all of a sudden you're living this life that you weren't in before, and there's less complaining, there's less whinging, there's more fulfillment. That's good.
I like to have a good whinge every now and then, Geoff.
Hey, I've noticed. I've known you for long enough, my friend. Hey, I like to just go one and go nuts.
All right. Yeah, we've been rambling for a bit now. So Geoff's going to be on for the next few podcasts. So he's given Craig the boot. So Craig has got to listen to this, and he's not going to be happy. Let me tell you, he'll be ringing me from Bali, going, "I'm not out. I'm still in."
Yeah, I'm out, but I'm in. Yeah. You have to get a third chair because I might do some fly-ins sometimes, and we can have a good.
Yeah, we'll have to have it on the virtual. Yeah. So thanks very much, Geoff, for your knowledge and wisdom again. And I look forward to our next meeting, our next podcast. We'll have to try and stay on topic a bit more.
That's what I was going to say. The power of positive thinking was what we're supposed to have done.
Yeah,
74,000 thoughts have come in and taken.
I know, and we have to start to focus more. And I promise that for those 5 people that are listening, that we're going to. But our mission is to help you that's listening to become the best person that you can be by the end of this year. That's our mission. And I'm leading by example. Geoff's leading by example. Craig's leading by example.
Part-time.
Yeah, part-time. Even Kerry, Kerry's leading by example. She's going hard.
She's on the magazine.
Yeah, she's in the magazine. She's going, oh, gee, she's going well. She's going well, and she's got a water business going, and then she's got the retreats going now, and then her and Lisa are doing some other business, and she's and I'm so proud of her. She's going so good, eh?
Yeah, she's unreal. She's a great.
Young, Mitch is going great guns, and he's started up his new business of excavating and doing a bit of electrical. We're in opposition a bit, but is what it is. Yeah, undercutting.
No, don't undercut.
No, don't undercut. No, but I'm really proud of him, and he's going great. And Shawnee, he's like mainly looking after the our family business that we got, and he's going unreal. And Sarah, she's just about to finish up her army medic course, and that has been so hard, like so hard. What the army put them through at the start, but then it just becomes a government job. But at the start, it is fantastic. On mentally challenging the people. And I think something like that would be unreal in schools if they could do something like that, but they wouldn't be able to do it because of all the repercussions that they would get. But yeah, but she's going that great. And she's just met a new guy, Paddy, and he's fantastic. Like our whole family is just, mate, they're on fire and going that well.
Good.
And so I can't be more proud of them. And
well, look at the.
And I think that I do take credit for it a bit for myself because I'm leading by example as a father, and I'm just saying that for other fathers, so other fathers, instead of whinging and moaning and bitching and carrying on, what about you just step it up and become a father and become strength again, and and get out and have a go. I think we need the dads to start to stand up. We need the dads to go to the schools and say to them and say, having 15-year-old boys in watching my 13-year-old girl getting changed is not acceptable.
Yeah.
The dads need to stand up for that. the dads need to stand up for so many things now. Like they have a responsibility. All these young boys, they have a responsibility to stand up.
Yes,
And
I agree.
um, I think they can easily do it. It's just a matter of it's just a thought to do. Anyway, so I'm trying to lead by you're leading by example. I'm leading by example. Craig's leading by example, and now then your family's going great. My family's going great. Craig's family's going great. It can't like
Yeah,
it
get on.
can't it can't be. There's no downside to it. That's what I'm trying to get out of my mind. There's zero downside in you having a strong mind and a strong body. There's zero downside,
Yeah.
and so much up. There's so much that can happen.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, and the ladies too. I'm not. I don't want to take. It's only because we're talking to them, but the ladies that I've been working with too, they're going gangbusters. They're so strong, and I've been so lucky that I've been able to work with them as well. And we've still got our 21-day thing that's going at the minute, and it's been challenging because I change things as I go on the fly because I'm trying. It's a brand new to me for this system that I'm working on because I want it to be the best, and the strongest, and so we can get the most. I want to put my whole 8 years of knowledge into 21 days.
Yeah.
But that's just the seed, and then you've got to obviously do the action plan and start to lead by example.
Yeah.
But those ladies say they're tolerating me, and but we're having fun, and they're just going that good. I'm so proud of them too, and I'm proud of everyone. They're just everyone that I work with. They go great, and life's great.
Life's great, mate. Life's
Yeah,
great. Love is the answer, and everybody works together.
yeah. All right, mate. We better wind this up, and thanks very much for listening, and
I love it.
and thank you again, Geoff. And if you want to find out more, and if you want to come over and join the new platform, if you just go to freedomnetwork.io, and there'll be a link there. Not there at the minute because I haven't finished it, but by this podcast comes out, hopefully it'll be finished. We've got a brand new one, Become Limitless. That's our brand new community. It's very similar, like Facebook type setup, and it's got courses and things on there, and 90% of it's for free. We've got to do some paid stuff on it because I can't work for free. Otherwise, I'd have to go back to being an electrician, and then that won't be no good because then I can't share my knowledge. So it's sort of like a bit of a win-win.
Yeah.
Where everybody needs to win. That's the thing. Everyone needs to win. So yeah, thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Look forward to it. Stay good, everyone.